Zelenskyy fires back at Putin's invitation to visit Moscow. In Washington, the Pentagon gets a new name. The Ministry of War and the US may take the lead in monitoring a buffer zone in Ukraine. Your top international headlines next. But first, don't forget to subscribe, like and share your take on the top international events shaping the week. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says he will not travel to Moscow to meet with Vladimir Putin. Instead, the Ukrainian leader has invited the Kremlin chief to visit Kiev, speaking in an interview with ABC News.
He can come to Kiev. If a person doesn't want to meet during the war, of course, he can propose something that can't be acceptable to me or to others. It's understandable. I can't go to Moscow when my country is under missiles, under attacks each day. I can't go to the capital of this terrorist.
Zelenskyy believes Putin invited him to Moscow knowing the Ukrainian president would never visit the Russian capital. He says such moves don't speed up a peace deal, they only drag the process out. Earlier, Russia's President Vladimir Putin made it clear he's not planning to travel anywhere for talks with the Ukrainian leader, but says he's ready to meet in Moscow. Donald Trump has signed an order renaming the US Department of Defense. It will now be called the Ministry of War. The official ceremony took place in the Oval Office. Under the order, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and his team can now use the titles Minister of War and Deputy Minister of War. Hegseth said the change is not just words, but a military ethic, and has already updated his job title on social media platform X. Some of Trump's Republican allies in Congress are pushing legislation to make the change permanent. Without a new law, the Pentagon can only use the name as a secondary title. The Department of War was America's original defense agency from 1789 until it was renamed in 1947, 2 years after World War II. Trump says the US military is the strongest in the world, and the new name sends a clear signal.
I think it's a much more appropriate name, especially in light of where the world is right now. We have the strongest military in the world. We have the greatest equipment in the world. We have the greatest manufacturers of equipment by far. There's nobody to even compete. And you see that with this and so many other things. The Patriots are the best. Every element of the military, we make the best by far.
The US could lead monitoring of a buffer zone in Ukraine if a peace agreement is reached. NBC News reports, citing 4 sources familiar with the plan being discussed by Ukrainian allies. According to the network, the buffer zone could be a demilitarized area separating Russia's-controlled and Ukrainian government territories inside the country. Its exact borders have not yet been defined. The US could monitor the zone using drones and satellites, coordinating with allies who would also take part in the effort. It's possible that troops from non-NATO countries could help guard the area.
The zone could then be secured by troops from one or more non-NATO countries, like Saudi Arabia or even Bangladesh. According to the people familiar with the plan, no US troops would be deployed inside Ukraine, they said.
NBC News reports that the plan was developed after a meeting between US President Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin in Alaska on August 15. It is seen as a part of potential security guarantees for Ukraine, though the media notes that, like any plan, it remains theoretical until Putin and Zelenskyy approve it. President Trump confirmed the US is ready to provide security guarantees for Ukraine, but did not go into details. He once again emphasized that Europe should take the leading role.
Well, we'll work that out. We'll help them. Look, we want to save a lot of lives, so we'll do something with that. I think people expect that. We'll help them. Europe will be first in by far, and they want to be first, and they want to see it end. Europe wants to see it end. And it'll end all of a sudden. It's going to come together.
Meanwhile, in Moscow, there is a strong opposition to the deployment of Western troops in Ukraine as a part of potential security guarantees. Russian leader Vladimir Putin warned that Western forces would become a legitimate target for the attack.
As for possible troop deployment in Ukraine, this is one of the root causes dragging Ukraine into NATO. If any troops appear there, especially now while fighting is ongoing, We assume that they will be legitimate targets. If decisions are reached that will lead to a long-term peace, then I simply do not see any sense in their being on the territory of Ukraine. That's all.
Moreover, the Kremlin chief also wants security guarantees for Russia if a similar agreement with Ukraine is reached. According to him, so far no one has seriously discussed security guarantees for Ukraine with him. European Commission Executive Vice President Teresa Ribera has become the first senior EU official to call Israel's military operation in Gaza a genocide. The Commission moved fast to make clear her words did not reflect its position. European Commission Vice President Teresa Ribera has called Israel's action in Gaza a genocide, becoming the first senior EU official to make such an accusation. She made the striking statement during a speech at the opening ceremony of the academic year at the Sciences Po University in Paris.
The genocide in Gaza exposes Europe's failure to act and speak with one voice, even as protests spread across European cities and 14 UN Security Council members call for an immediate ceasefire.
Teresa Ribera is the European Commission's Executive Vice President responsible for climate and antitrust issues, but not foreign policy. The Commission has previously accused Israel of human rights violation, but never of genocide, and Israel has repeatedly rejected such claims. European Commission spokesperson Paula Pinheiro quickly clarified that assessing the situation in Gaza falls under the competence of the courts, not of the Commission, adding that the College of EU Commissioners has not made any decision on labeling Israel's action as a genocide.
Establishing whether international crimes, including genocide, have been committed is the competence of national courts as well as international courts and tribunals which may have jurisdiction. And the legal qualification of such an act of genocide, does require the proper establishment of facts and a finding of law.
The European Commission hits Google with a $3.5 billion fine. Brussels accuses Google of breaking EU competition rules in the online advertising market, while US officials warn of potential consequences for the European Union. The European Commission's investigation found that Google gave its own online advertising services an unfair advantage, harming competitors, advertisers, and online publishers. According to the Commission, this practice has been going on at least since 2014. The EU has hit Google with a $3 billion fine and ordered the company to end its anti-competitive practices. Google now has 60 days to report back on the steps it will take. US President Donald Trump slammed the decision, warning of possible trade retaliation. He also brought up Apple, saying the company was forced to pay a $17 billion fine.
Europe today hit another great American company, Google, with a $3.5 billion fine, effectively taking money that would otherwise go to American investments and jobs. This is on top of the many other fines and taxes that have been issued against Google and other American tech companies in particular. Very unfair, and the American taxpayer will not stand for it. As I have said before, my administration will not allow these discriminatory actions to stand.
This is for now. For the latest news, follow our new X account, WarrenPolitics24. The link is in the video description.